Hey everybody, my name is John DePietro, and I want to introduce you to our friend Tammy Pierce. And this is going to be a very fun segment. It's a series, one in a series of segments called My Life with Kenny Rogers. The interesting thing is, it's not about my life with Kenny Rogers, but it's about the lives of our guest, who today is Tammy Pierce, Life with Kenny Rogers. And Tammy, welcome to your show.
Thank you. Thank you, John. It's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's so nice to see you again. And I should tell our viewers that this is one of several segments that we're doing called My Life with Kenny Rogers. And we're going back, and it's kind of like the greatest hits album, I was going to say, but the greatest hits CD
Yes.
of talking with people who've worked with Kenny Rogers somewhere along the line in the past 35 or 40 years. We've got bus drivers, we've got music directors, we've got drummers,
Yes.
we've got family members, we've got every guest imaginable.
Wow.
And today you fall under, actually you'd fall into a number of categories. I was going to refer to you as backup singer, but you're much more than that. And before I let you tell your story, I just want to tell people that if they like this segment, all they have to do is write down at the bottom right-hand screen of their bottom right-hand screen of what they're watching this on. There should be a little button that says subscribe, a little red button. Hit that subscribe button, and then there's a bell. Hit the bell so that every time a new video like this comes out, and there are several, you'll be notified before the general public. Now, we got all the business taken care of. Let's have fun.
Yes,
Amy.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Tammy, tell me about how you met Kenny, where you're from, and the backstory, because people love to hear
The start of the dream. Yeah. So I am originally from Nashville, born and raised. There's not very many of us. I'm a native.
I didn't think there was a fraternity ward in Nashville.
I know.
You all came from Texas.
And that I went into the music industry, which is unheard of. No plan of my own, no plan whatsoever. But, and I was named after Tammy Wynette, very, very odd. But I met Kenny actually singing with another singer that I'm sure you'll contact if you haven't already, Miss Linda Davis.
Miss Linda Davis.
And Linda Davis in the 90s had a hit with Reba McEntire called Does He Love You?
Does He Love You?
And I was...
You don't want
yes.
I'll be.
You can. Would you like to sing?
No. We want people to watch this.
Yes. So I had gone out. I had been asked to go out and do a show of Reba's part on Linda's show, so that the duet could be in her show.
Okay, so you're out with Linda Davis, being Reba McEntire.
Right.
Did you wear a red wig?
I did not do any red wigs. I had big, long, boofy Pentecostal hair. Anyway, there was no need for a red wig. Yes. So at any rate, we called.
That's too good.
We were called, or she was called rather, to open a show with Kenny at the Grand Palace in Branson, about 6,000 people.
Yep.
And so I got the call to go with her. I was so honored to go with her. And we went to the show, and I sang background with her on that show. When I stepped off the plane to meet the band, I had also at that time in my life, I was what's called in Nashville a studio session singer. So I was doing studio work for artists, many artists at that time. I just lived in the studio. That's how I was making my living. But I had worked with most of the band.
Buildings with no windows.
Somewhat, not quite that governmental feeling, but definitely somewhat. So I had known what a lot of people don't know is many of the members of Kenny's band are songwriters, and they had cuts in like his movie Six Pack. They had several cuts in that. So I was already working in studio work with the band.
So you already.
So I got there and I knew everybody.
Steve and Warren and all those guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got there and I knew everyone, and so we did the show, and I met Kenny, and Kenny said, it was myself and her husband that was with us, and they said, can can they stay out and sing with me? And Linda said, well, of course, of course. So Kenny opened, Linda came out and sang. We did the whole show. That was the beginning of the conception of putting girls on the tour. They never had girls on the tour.
Right.
I was hired, and they said, Tammy, we've got one other girl in mind. Can you bring another girl? Is there someone you can recommend? And I did. And so that was the beginning of it's really funny because we took that gig thinking it was a weekend gig. I thought, oh, this is great. This is great. We're going to be with Kenny Rogers for the weekend. Yeah, it turned into something like 180 days. We went to Europe. We went to New Zealand. We went to the weekend gig turned into just this incredible opportunity that we could have never seen coming. It's just one of those blessings in life that's kind of dropped in your path on your journey. It's really nice.
I'm sure you'd agree with me, Tammy, that many times when you study the careers of people in showbiz, in entertainment, their career took a left turn or a right turn based upon a chance meeting with someone that really wasn't part of the big plan, but
absolutely.
Things happened a certain way.
Yes. So it was, for me, that was really the beginning of my relationship with Kenny. And I had a fantastic working relationship with him. He was always so gracious to us. Once you were part of the Kenny Rogers production family, you're part of the production family forever. And so I went on to work with him. I did the tours with him. I sang live with him. I did song demos of his, so preparation demos that you sing as you're cutting a song. And then I also sang on about, 3 or 4 of his albums. So I'm not sure which, but a few of his albums.
Remember that song, If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I don't know who sang it, but it was a rhythm and blues.
Sure.
If I Could Turn Back the Hands of Time. Let's turn back the hands of time with Tammy Piierce and go back to We've Got Tonight. Talk about that and that dream that happened 10, 12
That is a
later.
true story. That is a very true story. So when I was a teenager, when Kenny was Kenny Rogers, I mean, he was singing with Sheena Easton, We've Got Tonight. He was doing The Gambler. I mean, he was a superstar. There's no other way to say it. He was a superstar. And I was a teenager in high school. So this would have been 83, 84.
Were you like in the Glee Club and stuff?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Yes, I was in all that stuff. So I used to sit in my room because I would sing all the time. I was already singing in high school. I was already singing session work for $10 a song. $10 a song in Nashville. I was already singing that in high school. So I used to sit though in my bedroom with this record with Sheena Easton. And I would say, when I can sing like that, because I wanted to be a high singer. I wanted to sing all the high stuff. And I said, when I can sing like that, I'll be a singer. That's the standard. Fast forward 12 years, 10, 12, I am on the stage with Kenny Rogers, singing with him that song. So it's definitely be careful what you wish for. Definitely.
So were you the one that, when that song was sung live obviously in front of a live audience?
Yeah.
Were you the one that sang, We've Got Tonight, Who Needs Sheena Easton?
No, and I don't think anyone ever heard me sing that and think, oh, wow, Tammy should cut that. Oh, no. I mean, imagine the pressure of going on a stage where no one knows who you are or cares who you are, and you're going to sing Sheena Easton, like a #1 record with Kenny Rogers, who's a superstar. That's probably not a good time to, it's kind of like when someone says, don't screw up. That's.
Oh, yeah. It's like when the doctor is examining you and says, breathe normally.
Yes.
When they're doing an EKG, breathe normally.
Yes.
What do I do?
Yes.
So let's talk about some other members of the Kenny family. That band that you had to deal with, what were they? Did they initiate you? Did they play practical jokes on you 3 women?
No. Listen, here's what was so funny about the band. So when I came out, I was the baby. I was the youngest one on the team.
Okay.
Even with the girls, even the two other girls
You want to
were
mention
older
them?
than me.
You can mention them.
I was, yes, Beverly Randall, wonderful singer. Michelle Rogers, wonderful singer, incredibly talented ladies. But I was the baby of the bunch. So I'm like, we would roll into these cities. I mean, when we did the Christmas tour, we did one-nighters from a week before Thanksgiving until New Year's Eve. We went home for Christmas about 2 days. And then we would sit down in one city, I believe Providence, Rhode Island, for about a week. We would stay there for about a week. So I'm like, let's go. I mean, we're out here. Yay, yay, let's rock and roll. Nobody wanted to do that. I was the one that was always, let's go see the city. Let's see what's there. We've got time to get back before the show. So I was the one that was kind of dragging they would even say, they were like, man, we're like old coots compared to you, Tam. We're old road dogs out here. So it was still fun. I mean, you cannot be out with that team and not have fun because we lived so well. You know, the thing about being on the road with Kenny, you know, I had a young son at the time. He came out sometimes and was actually in the Christmas show with me at one point. But when you were traveling with Kenny, you lived well. You know, you had nice rooms and there was never, food was everywhere and beverages, just whatever you needed, you had. So it wasn't very difficult to do.
It wasn't wild and crazy. It was just first class, would you say?
Absolutely.
Would you say that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So I'm told that there was a special time when Kenny met your mom. Describe that situation.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So funny. So funny. So when I got the job with Kenny Rogers, my mother's name, by the way, is Wilma Joe. Wilma Joe. Very, very Southern. I tell people there's country, there's Southern, and then there's my mother.
And then there's Mom.
My mother talks a lot like this. And she would go tell everybody, Tammy is working with Kenny Rogers. Working with that Kenny Rogers. So she and I are talking and, you know, just as we would on the phone. And she says, Tammy, when he pulls you into him and sings that song to you, isn't that just wonderful? Isn't that just wonderful? And of course I'm thinking, ooh, this is my employer. But I did say, yes, of course. It's wonderful. It's amazing. So I told Kenny that story. I told Kenny Rogers, I said, Kenny, you're never going to believe this. Well, he started cracking up. He thought it was funny. So when he met her, I said, Kenny, my mom is out on the Christmas tour. He said, bring her in. And he went over to her. He grabbed her and he pulled her in. I mean, he bear hugged her. We got it on camera. I thought she was going to melt right there. I thought, well, she's going to faint. We're going to have to pick her up right now. He totally just worked it from beginning to end. It was absolutely one of the most, our family just cracked up laughing. He was just great about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we were talking about life on the road, and you said on show dates, you know, you had to be there early, especially Christmas. Yeah. You had to rehearse with the local choirs and that type of thing. And you said, as I found out, the band doesn't want to go out and party. I mean, they've done it for many years. They're you know, but hotel room to venue to bus to stage, do it all over again, rinse and repeat.
Yes.
What would you say your most fun outside of meeting me? How many years ago was that?
And we saw you every year. We saw you every year. You were always a joy. We saw you every year.
Okay. So I wanted to make sure you got that in, that part.
Yes.
That was the part that I wrote in the script, folks. I wrote that in about me being a joy.
Absolutely.
What was the funnest gig or experience that you can tell people about years later after the tour is over? Or you said really had a really good time.
We had probably one of the obvious, I mean, the best time for me was probably our trip to New Zealand. When we played New Zealand, I was getting off the plane with Kenny, and we went over to only play 2 shows, but one show we were playing to 25,000 people. And I said, we're going to play to 25,000 people. This is incredible, Kenny. And he says, well, you know, I played for more. And I'm thinking, wow. So being over there and sitting on stage with him, it was just kind of a profound moment, because I remember I was sitting right behind him at his 7 o'clock. And at this one point in the show, we're in New Zealand. There's 25,000 people in front of us. The sun is going down. It's an amphitheater.
Oh, you're outdoors.
And the band stopped playing, and Kenny by himself picked a guitar up and sang Sweet Music Man. And I have never experienced hearing a pin drop with 25,000 people, but you could hear a pin drop. And I remember thinking, looking at him, having that visual, thinking, that's why you're a superstar. I mean, the place was captivated. He sang it effortlessly. He played guitar effortlessly. It's a great song. So that was probably one of the more profound moments. But we had fun all the time. I mean, that's just the whole. We always had a great time because we were always into something. The girls were always into something. We were always, you know, doing something. So
yeah, that you had to get yelled at or scolded for. Now,
yes,
talk about the silent man in this whole thing. And I've got to get him on, or you got to call him, or I got to call him, or I got to work through his brother, or I got to work with all these other people. But Gene Roy really kind of held the whole thing together.
Yes.
And
yes.
He's the silent, forgotten person in this whole.
I don't think he's ever forgotten. He is silent. One of the girls nicknamed him Slick because he's not.
That's right. Because
Slick.
what? Slick.
Because he's not.
And you know what his son got named?
No.
Little Slick. We called him Little Slick.
Oh my God.
Aaron, Little Slick. Who do you want to talk to, Slick or Little Slick?
Well, the story with Slick was, with Gene Roy, that no one knows. Only the girls would know this. When you're out on tour, when you were out on tour with Kenny, everybody had a bus. So Kenny had a bus, the band had a bus, the rigging crew had a bus, the kids had a bus. Gene Roy got stuck on the bus with the girls, with the chicks, with the girls.
Okay.
And I didn't do it, but one of the other ladies in the group was somewhat well endowed. I mean, this is G-rated.
Yeah.
And used to wash her underclothing out in the bus after a show because, you know, we're wearing nice things for the show. So she would hand wash them in Woolite and hang them up. So in the middle of the night, you'd hear Slick Gene Roy get up and go to the bathroom. And he opens the bus bathroom and here's all these ladies negligee, not lingerie, not negligees, but all of this ladies' underclothing. Well, that basically what the better word for it is foundation garments, because you're on stage, so you have to wear certain things.
Okay.
And so he's in there trying to go to the bathroom, and you hear him like, "Gosh, jeez, God." You know, I mean, it was just he put up with the girls. He was the chosen vessel to steward the girls. Yes.
Okay. The only one you could trust. But anyway.
Yeah.
So, I know you had a couple other stories. What was it though that you had taken some of your own notes? Folks, for the record here, Tammy was reluctant to even participate in this, whether it be audio or video. And then just before we go on camera here, where I hit the record button, she says, "Well, remember, I have to talk about this. I have to talk about this. I have to talk about this." I think we got it all in, but there were a couple other points that you wanted to make while we're still rolling here. What were those?
Well, we had one of the funny moments with Kenny that Kenny shared with us. A lot of people don't know, and so when you asked me to do this, I thought
we want to hear what the public doesn't know, and it doesn't. Yes. Not on the back of the record.
Yes, there's two things.
Okay.
There's two things I would say. So this is a funny story that Kenny used to share with us because Kenny had a great sense of humor. And the thing about him that was amazing being a performer with him is you could not throw him. You couldn't stun him. You couldn't knock him off balance. He just was seamless. So he's telling me the story after we're sharing these stories about our mothers. Yeah. He says, we're sharing these stories about our mothers. And he says, he's telling me the story of his mother who was in the Gambler movies. Remember? And they would do the group shots. And the band was in those movies, the band members' wives. Kenny's wife was in that movie. So Kenny's mother was part of the group shots in the old Western. It's a Western movie, The Gambler.
Yep.
So the producers pan across, Kenny's telling me this. He said they pan across the scene, and sticking out from under his mother's skirts are Nike tennis shoes. So they have to shut down the shoot. The producer goes to Kenny, is like, can you like talk to your mom? I mean, he's like, yeah, mom, the shoes, get the shoes off. So yeah, so they really worked hard to keep the Nike tennis shoes were not around in the Wild West. So
right.
that was a fun one.
Yeah.
That was funny. And then probably the second story that people would be interested to know is, he never stayed. His sphere of influence was broad. So he was never confined just to country music. He was a pop star. He knew people in every genre of music. So this is a true story. I'm coming off stage one night. We're in Laughlin, Nevada, and I wore these big stiletto heels. And anytime you came off the stage, there was always a stagehand to help you down so you didn't break your neck. And you just reach out and take whatever hand is there. And so I'm coming off stage. We finished. I reach out to take the hand, and I look, and I did a double take. And I said, "Are you Alice Cooper?" And he said, "Well, yes, I am." And I said, "It's a Kenny Rogers show." He says, "I know, but we play golf, and whenever he's here, I try to come out." So Alice Cooper is helping me off the stage. And Kenny walks off the stage. He's just played for about 6,000 people. And he and Alice are patting each other on the back. They're going down the hall. And it was just like another day at the office. I remember thinking, watching Kenny Rogers and Alice Cooper walk down the hall was just weird. I was like, I didn't see that one coming. So yeah, so it's funny stuff. There was the people that showed up at the show was, you never knew who was going to be coming backstage. Yeah.
Cool. That's a great story. So what was the biggest life lesson you learned from being around the Kenny family that you could take with you as you progressed after the years of Kenny?
Certainly the biggest, and the thing that he said I wouldn't say every time I saw him, but he said it a lot. Said two things. Do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That was the first thing. I heard him say that 100 times. Do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And then secondarily, he would present it wasn't a statement, but he was about work-life balance. So he would say, if your career is 75% of your life, when you lose your career, you lose 75% of your life. So, keep in balance, keep family, keep career, and the whole time that we were out there, everybody's family came out on that tour. Everybody's kids came out, everybody's wives came out. And so it was definitely a community. It was definitely a community.
That's cool. Because you don't see, a lot of times you don't even see that in the workforce today. If you're working at an office, when
That's
people
right.
punch out at 5 o'clock at night, they're gone and they don't want to associate with the people that they, but it's interesting you say that now because, the band would bring the kids out and the wives out and that type of thing. And I remember bringing my kids to the show, and now, a few years ago brought my grandkids to the show, and Kenny's as gracious.
That's right.
As ever. And, but somehow doesn't it feel like he's still around, doesn't it? Isn't it kind of eerie?
It is to have someone, he occupied a lot of space. It was a big career, a broad time frame of music that he occupied. And I think he'll be tremendously missed. I do think though the test is when you hear those records and I'm even saying record, we don't say records anymore, when you hear those records and when you hear those performances, they are timeless. They really are timeless. And that's really the test of I think, a person. he did in the earth what he was supposed to do while he was here, certainly.
Mm. You know, the only sad thing of the whole thing is that because of the COVID situation and when he passed, there was never any, you know, service or funeral or memorial thing or anything like that. But, you know, Wanda's always talked about having one. When the time comes and something you want to go to?
I certainly would go if it is open to, you know, I expected his funeral to be private and to be with the family. He had, you know, his children and his, the sisters and brothers that he has that are still living. Wanda and her family, he was very close to, because John, he just knew so many people that I don't know where, they would have to have it in a theater or a coliseum, or, I mean, not necessarily a coliseum, but it would have to be an event. I mean, he knows a lot of people.
Well, Tammy, I still have some old all access badges. I could give you one of my old ones so we could sneak it.
I have my own.
We can sneak in the side door. So anyway, you know what? It's been such a pleasure having you, and
thank you.
Certainly want to wish you the best in your future endeavors, and tell people that we have been talking with Miss Tammy Piece, who was not just a backup singer, but kind of a co-star. And actually, you were the backup singer to the opening act. There's a new title for you.
Well, I know.
Backup singer to Linda.
The backup singer to the Grammy winner. That was the opening act.
That's right. That's exactly right. Exactly right.
You just went away on me there. But yeah, most people don't realize Grammy singer. So no pressure. I never worked with any pressure.
We got to get a hold of Linda, because she's already said she would do this, but that was 6 months ago, and then we just put it aside for a while. But Linda will have so many great stories as well as yourself, and we want to thank you so much for being with us. And remind you folks that this has been My Life with Kenny Rogers. This segment featuring Tammy Piece. See the button, the red button on the right-hand side of your screen. Hit that button and then hit the bell, and you'll get them all. So let's go out in a blaze of glory.
Aye.
All good things must end. See y'all.
Blessings.